I want to welcome you all to the May 15, 2018 meeting of the Whitehall City Council for the purpose of considering such matters that may come before it. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for a extra moment of silence for Police Officers Memorial Day, and remain standing for the pledge, please. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cannon.
Here.
Heck. Here. Morrison.
Here.
Bailey.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Elmore. Coniston. Here. President Graham.
Present.
Mr. President, move to excuse the absent member. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Rodriguez to excuse the absent member. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cannon.
Yes.
Heck. Yes. Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
The absent member has been excused. Next, we have our approval of minutes for May 1, 2018, agenda and regular meeting.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 1st.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Coniston, a second by Mr. Canner for approval of the May 1st, 2018 agenda and regular meeting minutes. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cannon.
Yes.
Heck. Yes. Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
The minutes have been approved. It's our first opportunity for poll public. If anyone would like to come forward, you will have up to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
I don't know what this is.
I believe it's for the news media.
Is it? Okay. Sorry.
Can you leave it on the podium?
Put it on the podium? All right. Gerald Dixon, 3877 Doney Street. From the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, bully, noun, one who is habitually cruel, insulting, or threatening to others who are weaker, smaller, or in some way vulnerable. Citizen, with no governmental powers to change or sway the course of public policy or affect citizens' lives, exercising not only his First Amendment rights, but his civic duty to call out city officials wrong in whatever means that affects the change sought. Bully. Government authority with the full powers of the city at their command: law, money, influence, power, bureaucracy, numbers, bully pulpits. Victims. In society, it has been a historic tradition amongst learned people to consult volumes and editions and compendiums of information to certify that the word we use, the phrase we utter, the fact we espouse is correct. One need only refer to the historically vaunted reference of Merriam-Webster to determine then, before committing to the use of a word or phrase, whether one is using it in the right context. My stance then is when the word bully is aimed towards anyone, in particular a single citizen with no tangible power, I would advise the user to consult with a compendium like Merriam-Webster before making that pronouncement, lest they appear foolish to other learned individuals. While I am fully aware of citizens fulfilling the civic duty and publicly thank them for it, they are nevertheless political appointees, and while they are volunteers, they are still serving a city function in an official capacity. They are arguing the people's business, and as such, they fall under the rightful gaze and notation of the public, those who have a right to A, agree, B, ignore them, or C, react in a critical fashion as they see fit. While agreeing with them needs little to no time to justify, a critical response demands the counter-argument to make its case. Without anyone playing devil's advocate or countering their arguments with critical thinking, you simply have a yes-person pathology. If I find the flaws in their arguments, it is my American right and civic duty to add what I feel I must. There was never any animus in my doing so. Given this, then, what we need is less righteous indignation over misconstrued beliefs and more adherence to tried and true avenues of learned comprehension. That comprehension which leads us to the knowledge that reveals the truth. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would like to come forward at this time for poll public? All right, we will move on to our standing committee reports, and we'll begin with Administration and Financial Management, Chairperson Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration and Financial Management did meet last Tuesday, and our minutes are on file. We will meet again next Tuesday, sometime after 6:30 in the back room here.
All right, thank you. Community and Elder Advocacy, that's Chairperson Elmore. Due to some medical reasons, she's not for her, but family reasons, she's unable to attend the meeting this evening. However, that committee also met last Tuesday. The minutes are on file, and they shall also meet again next Tuesday sometime after 6:30. That brings us to Community Standards and Enforcement, Chairperson Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Community Standards and Enforcement met last Tuesday as well. Our minutes are on file. We will meet again next Tuesday sometime after 6:30.
All righty, thank you, sir. That brings us now to Economic Development, Chairperson Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Economic Development also met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file. We will meet again next Tuesday sometime after 6:30 in the back. We have up for consideration this evening Ordinance 37, 2018, and Resolution 15, 2018.
All right, thank you, sir. Next up is Infrastructure Maintenance and Services, Chairperson Heck.
Thank you, Mr. President. Infrastructure, Maintenance, and Services met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file. We did discuss the new sound and video system to record council meetings, and we will meet next Tuesday in the back.
All righty, thank you. Next we have Public Safety, Chairperson Coniston.
Thank you, President Graham. Public Safety met last week. Our minutes are on file, and we'll meet again next week in the back sometime after 6:30.
All righty, thank you. Next and lastly is Parks and Recreation, Chairperson Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parks and Recreation also met last week, and our minutes are on file. We actually spoke about, if you've got a few minutes, drive around our parks. Look at the new changes that we have, all the new equipment's up. Big difference. The entrance into John Bishop Park is phenomenal. The trees are in bloom. Thank you. We'll meet again next week in the back after 6:30.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, those are all the standing committee reports we have this evening. We'll move on to our officials' reports, and we'll begin with our mayor, Ms. Kim Maggard.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and braving the weather this evening. Would like favorable consideration of 45-08. I would just like to also ask everyone to take a look at Etna Road in the John Bishop Park area. The plantings in the medians have been planting, and they're absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. Combined with the blooming trees, it really, really looks nice. Also, Council will see legislation coming from me next week regarding an additional appropriation for the My Home program. If you remember in the budget, there was an additional $30,000 budgeted for this, so that will be coming to you to make sure that we do the proper channels and get the money into the expense account. Also, some update on the Y. We have had architect interviews, and we will be naming that architect very soon. Also, we will be reviewing applications and for CMR interviews, and looking forward to that as well. So we're getting well on our way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we have our city attorney, Mr. Michael Bivens.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. I would also like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Just from the city attorney's office on Thursday at 6 o'clock here in Mayor's Court, the legal Rams from the Whitehall Yearling High School will be doing their final examination for their mock court program. And so that you know, any member from the audience, The mock court program is a program that was initiated through the city attorney's office. It's blossomed into the actual curriculum at Whitehall Yearling High School, and the kids are learning critical analysis, public speaking, how to present a case, how to analyze critical facts. They participated in the Ohio Mock Court Competition, and as a result of their curriculum, they must engage in a final mock court trial to be their final, that represents their final exam. This case in particular, I'm so proud of because the kids, they live here in Whitehall and they see all of the things that are going on in Whitehall, and this case was of particular interest to them because they see the cranes and they see the construction. So the question that they are going to resolve as it relates to construction and construction projects is whether or not a construction manager can be held liable for murder as it relates to injuries and or death to any person on that property during the construction process. And so they will be putting on a trial as it relates to that matter. I'm looking forward to it. I invite you all to come out, be a part of the jury or be a part of the audience, and I also invite the audience to come out. And lastly, I would like to publicly thank the mayor for coming out to express her well wishes to my wife on her last day with the Whitehall Yearling High School, or Whitehall School Board, not Whitehall Yearling High School itself, but the Whitehall School Board. She was very honored to have you there, and I just want to express that publicly, that she was very pleased, and, you know, happy wife, happy life. So you contributed to my life in making her happy in that regard. So thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we have our city auditor, Mr. Dan Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no official report tonight other than what you have before you. Those reports are available to the public on our website under the Auditors tab on Finance. I'd like to ask for favorable consideration on ordinances 41 and 42. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we have our Director of Development and Public Service, Mr. Zach Wood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no official report this evening. Thank you.
All righty, thank you, sir. Well, the following officials' reports have been filed in the council office since the last meeting. We have the mayor's report to council for April 2018, the auditor's expense report for April 2018, the auditor's bank report for April 2018, the auditor's statement of cash position report for April 2018, as well as the auditor's revenue report for April 2018. We've also received the Division of Fire overtime report for 2018. That's all that we have under reports filed with the council office. Under communications, petitions, and claims, we do have a notice from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control of a new application for a D1 liquor permit to Mini Ethiopian Coffee House and Carryout, 201 South Hamilton Road, 201 South Hamilton Road. We also have a notice from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control of a new application for a D5 liquor permit of Flavor 91 Burger Bistro at 5186 East Main Street. We've also received the minutes for the April 11, 2018 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission, and we also have received the agenda for the May 9, 2018 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission. Those are all the communications, petitions, and claims we have. Mr. Raymark, at this point, I think it would be a good idea for you to call the roll on whether each member of council was given a copy of each item of legislation listed on the agenda prior to the meeting, and including any add-on legislation.
Cantor?
Yes.
Heck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
All right, well, we'll move on with our ordinances and resolutions for the evening. First up, we have under third reading, ordinance 36, 2018. It's declaring the improvement to certain parcels in the city located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Hamilton Road and Broad Street to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5709.40B, providing for the collection and deposit of service payments and specifying the purposes for which those service payments may be expended. and authorizing school compensation payments and approving a tax increment financing agreement and a revenue sharing agreement.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 36, 2018, and move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Morrison for introduction and adoption of ordinance 36, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Ordinance 36, 2018 has been adopted. Our next ordinance is 37, 2018. It's authorizing the execution and delivery of a community reinvestment area agreement between the city and Continental Real Estate Companies or its designee. Yes.
Mr. President, wish to move to adopt ordinance 37, 2018.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Morrison and a second by Mr. Cantor for adoption of ordinance 37, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Ordinance 37, 2018 has been adopted. Our next piece of legislation under third reading is Resolution 15, 2018. It's a resolution to adopt a comprehensive development plan that describes the public need for the property known as the Woodcliff condominiums and affirming the public need for the property as nuisance abatement and authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city council to make an offer to purchase 317 parcels from the Woodcliff Condominium Unit Owners Association.
Mr. President, I wish to amend Resolution 15, 2018 in the dollar amount of $8,866,220.80.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Morrison and a second by Mr. Bailey to amend Resolution 2018 for the dollar amount of $8,866,220.80. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Resolution 15, 2018 has been amended.
Mr. President, move to adopt as amended Resolution 15, 2018.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Morrison, a second by Mr. Bailey to adopt Resolution 15, 2018 as amended. Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President. As you are aware, this comes before the city in a settlement of nearly 11 years of litigation. On or about April the 30th, 2018, the former receiver, along with 7 interested parties, signed the agreed order to settle these matters. In the order signed by Judge Hawkins and pursuant to the Condo Association's bylaws, all owners were given notice about the offer, the order, and a meeting was held. It's my understanding that the meeting was held last night on May the 14th, 2018 at the Whitehall Library, and the Condominium Association voted to accept the city's offer of $8,866,220.80 under threat of appropriation. Out of all of the votes cast in this matter, we understand that the Condominium Association voted overwhelmingly to accept the offer by a margin of 172 in favor and 77 opposed. Since the association voted to accept the city's offer, and once council adopts Resolution 15, 2018, then the offer will be accepted by the new receiver that has been appointed on this matter. Finally, the agreed order also provides for a process whereby any unit owner may object to the proposed distribution of proceeds, and a distribution hearing is already held, and those matters are part of the order. I believe that the objection period is May, and the distribution hearing is set sometime in June. This settlement again resolves nearly 11 years of litigation to the City of Whitehall. The city maintains that certain nuisance conditions still remain in Woodcliff, including defective drainage and plumbing, resulting in unclean and sanitary conditions. The offer to purchase and the acceptance of that offer by all interested parties, in the city's opinion, is a fair and final resolution to abate the Woodcliff condominium property as a blighted area to the city of Whitehall.
Any other comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Resolution 15, 2018 has been adopted. That was the last item of legislation we have under third reading. Under second readings, we begin with ordinance 41, 2018. It's making a supplemental appropriation of $111,000 from the Economic Development Incentive Planning Fund to the Economic Development Incentives Expense Account and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 41, 2018, and move to amend as read.
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Rodriguez to amend ordinance 41, 2018 as read. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Ordinance 41, 2018 has been amended.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce ordinance 41, 2018, and move for the suspension of rules.
Second?
A motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Rodriguez for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 41, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 41, 2018.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Rodriguez for adoption of ordinance 41, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Ordinance 41, 2018 has been adopted. It's the only item of legislation we have under second reading. Under first reading, we have ordinance 42, 2018. It's making and approving a supplemental appropriation of $134,876.72 from the Water Sewer Mandate Improvement Fund to the Water Sewer Mandate Improvement Expense Account and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 42, 2018, move for suspension of rules.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Morrison for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 42, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 42, 2018.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of ordinance 42, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Ordinance 42, 2018 has been adopted. Our next ordinance is 43, 2018. It's authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $1,250,000 from unappropriated monies in the General Fund 101 to the Property Acquisition and Maintenance Account and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 43, 2018, and move for suspension of rules.
Second?
A motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Rodriguez for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 43, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 43, 2018.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Rodriguez for adoption of ordinance 43, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cantor,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Coniston.
Yes.
Ordinance 43, 2018 has been adopted. Our next ordinance is 44, 2018. It's amending ordinance number 19-75, passed July 1, 1975, the traffic code of the City of Whitehall by amending Schedule 4 one-way streets section of the codified ordinances of the City of Whitehall.
Mr. President, I would like to introduce ordinance 44, 2018 and move for the suspension of all rules.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Heck and a second by Mr. Morrison for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 44, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner?
Yes.
Heck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Coniston? Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 44, 2018.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Heck, second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of ordinance 44, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner?
Yes.
Heck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Coniston? Yes.
Ordinance 44, 2018 has been adopted. Our last piece of legislation this evening is ordinance 45, 2018. It's authorizing the mayor to offer a candidate for employment exceptions to 161.15A for the purpose to permit the use of vacation leave during the first 6 months of hire. 161.12B1 to accept prior public service eligibility and experience in regard to earned vacation leave computation in the range of 9 to 12 years per 161.15B1 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 45, 2018, move for a suspension of rules.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Rodriguez, for introduction and suspension of all rules of ordinance 45, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner?
Yes.
Heck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Coniston? Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 45, 2018.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Rodriguez for adoption of ordinance 45, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner?
Yes.
Heck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Coniston? Yes.
Ordinance 45, 2018 has been adopted. That concludes our ordinances and resolutions for the evening. It's our second opportunity for poll public. If anyone would like to come forward, you will have up to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Gerald Dixon, 3877 Doney Street. A couple of pieces of business to tidy up. Councilman Rodriguez, since I brought up the legitimate need for truck legislation a couple of years ago, and the mayor and assistant city attorney made arguments against what they saw as the flaws in the legislation I helped draw up, I was curious how your work on that quality of life issue for the residents of Ward 1 is shaping up. Have you something drafted? What solutions, as our elected leader, have you come up with? As your constituent of Ward 1, I'd really like to hear your public answer. As well, are any of you attacking the litter problem? Are you looking at laws which address the litter creators? And how are you, as civic leaders, taking charge to not only recycle, but also reduce and reuse? So too, what is being done with all the speeders? Where are the cruisers giving out tickets? We have nearly $16 million to gobble up private property for development, but we don't have the money to adequately address another quality of life problem that afflicts the residential areas. What specifics can you offer to the citizens who are tired of this problem? Any other measures don't seem to be helping. What specifically are you doing to solve the issue? Any of you? 2 weeks ago, Councilman Bailey said, speaking to me, quote, "I'm thanking Kim Bentley for expressing a lot of my feeling on a personal level, things you've done to my family on a personal level. And if you want, I'll remind you what I'm talking about, but not here." Thus then, he used his official capacity as a council person to assert on a professional level, without equivocation, that I have done things on a personal level to his family. It is quite an allegation from a council representative to make against a private citizen from the council dais. As such, his outrageous but unclear broad statement deserves a public hearing. Here in the same public space, the allegation was made, and not in private in the parking lot out back. As well, the worst thing I heard 2 weeks ago came from Councilman Bailey too. He said to Ms. Bentley in response to her council speech vilifying me that, quote, "you shouldn't be challenged," unquote. A political appointee officially tasked with an official duty shouldn't be challenged by the public? If that is his misguided understanding of how our government works, may I suggest that he emigrate to countries like China or North Korea or Iran, where authoritarianism can be indulged in without the bothersome constraints of freedom, liberty, and the U.S. Constitution. That Constitution, of which I remind this body, was designed to protect the people from the government, not the government from the people. In light of such a statement coming from a seat in our government, my advice then is that he either A, take a remedial course in Government 101, or B, he resigns. Thank you.
I want to make one thing clear, that poll public is not it's an opportunity for people to come up and make a statement. It's not a question and answer period. And so for people to ask questions of the administration or members of council, that's not what it's designed for. It's simply designed to allow the residents to come up and make a statement, and that's simply all it is. If people would like to ask questions of members of the council or the administration, our phone numbers are published, our emails are published, everyone is available before and after the meetings, and so that would be the proper time for that to happen. So, is there anyone else who would like to come forward and participate in poll public at this time? Alrighty then, we'll move on to Community Date Board. Who has something to offer for Community Date Board?
I would like to echo City Attorney Bivens with the Thursday's mock court. It's a reminder, it's 6 o'clock Thursday in these chambers.
That's this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
It is
17.
Okay. What else? Who else has something?
Well, it is almost the summer, believe it or not. It's hard to tell sometimes with the weather, but about a month away. What is the date today? 15th?
Mm-hmm.
On June 23rd will be, WCCA will be having its cruise in over at the Whitehall VFW. We do have a rain date, which is probably a good thing for the next day, which will be June 24th. Hope to see everybody there. And also, it is pageant sign-up time. So I know that there's a lot of girls out there that just bought beautiful dresses for homecoming and prom. So hopefully they'll be able to have the opportunity to wear it a second time and come out and enter the pageants and come represent their community. WCCA will be over at John Bishop Park, over at the amphitheater, from 10 to 12 on Saturdays, from this Saturday until, I believe, June 16th, if I have my dates right.
Where's the pageant at this year?
It will be over at Rosemar
Okay.
on June 30th.
There will also be a Safer Whitehall Town meeting a week from Thursday on the 24th. And I believe it starts at 7?
6:30.
Thank you, 6:30. And really the focus is going to be on healthy relationships, how we can have healthy relationships with other people, including our family members, spouses, significant others, and try to be open and honest about violence, domestic violence, family violence. Thank you.
Who else?
Tomorrow there's a spaghetti dinner. It's $5 a plate at the high school. The proceeds are going to a family in need in Whitehall whose children go to the high school. Well, child does.
Are you doing the camp? Sign-ups for camp?
Yeah. Oh, there's signups for Whitehall camp. Thanks. Next week and the week after, the 23rd and the 30th. They'll be at the administration building from 5:30 to 6:30. Your child has to attend Whitehall City Schools, but it is a free camp if you qualify.
Who else has something for Community Day Board?
I would like to say one thing. The Safer Whitehall Town meeting is going to be at Whitehall Yearling High School at the Walter Arms Learning Center.
Who else has something for Community Day Board? Every time I ask, somebody comes up with something.
I could go on to the Halloween walk, but
I thought
I'll
you were-
stop at summer.
That's
July
what you
4th,
were.
the parade, 10
Okay.
o'clock.
All right. All right, so we'll move on from Community Day Board to Full Council, and we'll begin with Mr. Cannon.
Oh, I am first tonight, that's right. Thank you all for coming. Mr. Bivens, thank you for that reading that you gave the information to members of council, greatly appreciated. And happy belated birthday, council person Hack. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Not a problem. That's all I have.
All right.
His last couple days.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm hoping with the new sound system and video that we will get more people interested, maybe more people coming out, but hopefully at least tuning in. And that's really all I have. Oh, and summer, next week is the last week for school, so you should be seeing more kids out and about. Thank you.
Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would like to thank everyone for coming and appreciate the good weather we're having, and have a good rest of the week.
All righty, thank you, sir. Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all for coming. And I simply last week or 2 weeks ago agreed with the young lady that expressed her feelings of being bullied. Simply agreed with her and shared with you that I will not stand for that. And I'm asking you to please stop. What you do is bullying. You do it on the internet, you do it in public, you've done it to my family, and if you need reminded of that, we can talk about it again. That's simply all I said. I'm asking you to please stop. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks everyone for showing up. Plus earlier you were talking about the parks. I had the grandkids over there a couple weekends ago, and it is a vast improvement. It's really nice there were some kids over there playing basketball. It's nice to see that. The facilities are looking really good. I walked them over and showed them the splash pad. Needless to say, I guess I'll be taking them there this summer.
Yeah.
So, I also wanted to wish Councilor Heck a happy birthday, and of course I would be remiss if I did not wish my middle grandchild Jackson, Josiah, happy 6th birthday tomorrow. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Coniston.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and your comments, and Zach, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We hadn't seen you since then.
All right. Well, I also want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. We had no other official business. I do want to say, though, I hope to see you all at our next meeting before we adjourn this evening. I wanted to make sure I got that out.
Mr. President,
Yes.
move to adjourn.
Second.
I'm sitting here trying
I
to.
have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Rodriguez for adjournment. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner?
Yes.
Heck?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Coniston?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. I hope to see you all at our next meeting.
Go Cavs.